Good morning, KBOI. Hello, this is Dylan Stalker, your 3.5 generation Idahoan. As you hear here every week on the Great KBOI, the Great Idaho Show. The Great Idaho Show, what in the heck is it? If you aren't listening today, I don't know. Well, go to thegreatidahoshow.com. It'll tell you, but I'm a multi-generational Idahoan. I love Idaho and I love radio, and this is the greatest combination of that, the Great Idaho Show. And I'm here to highlight what I think is great about Idaho. And you know who I'm visiting with here today is Tim Wrightman, the principal of the Lazy Bear Ranch, but many of you might remember him as a 1985 Super Bowl champion. Before we get to this, we got to talk about our sponsor. Our sponsor is Old Arms of Idaho. What in the heck? Old Arms of Idaho. They are the greatest collectible firearms, Western, and military business of all time. They're right here in Boise. They're at oldarmsofidaho.com. They are ambassadors to America's heritage. If you have a collection, if you have a random holster, if you think you have something of significance in Western military and firearms, call Old Arms of Idaho. They will take great care of you. But now we are back, the Great Idaho Show. Tim Wrightman, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dylan. Thank you for inviting me on your show. It was great meeting you out at the ranch probably about a month or so ago when you came out with Kevin Miller and we chatted. And I'm so happy that you like my ranch and what I've been doing out there. And it's, it's fun. I love Idaho. It's my home now. My home by choice. You're lucky that your relatives and your grandfather and great grandfather decided to settle here. I wasn't so fortunate. Don't judge me. I'm from a small town south of here, Los Angeles.
UCLA football, all this stuff, right?
But a lot of people always ask, Tim, how did you end up in Weiser? And it was my dad. My dad, before I was born, he was traveling from Montana. He went up to Montana with two of his buddies to go elk hunting, and they were driving back to California on an unsuccessful elk hunt. They were too drunk to drive any further, the story goes, so they pulled into Weiser to get a motel room, and they ran into a cowboy at a bar there, and he asked him, hey, did you guys bring your shotguns with you? I've got a little place up the road. I could really use some chucker thinned out. And they're skeptical.
They're looking around like, are they going to bury you or something?
Right. Yeah. And so he leaves and goes, the manager knows where my place is. Meet me there at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he leaves, and my dad says, is that guy on the level? To the bar guy, and he goes, no, he's one of the biggest BSers in the county. He goes, he doesn't have a little place. He's got about 10,000 acres.
Right.
So my dad went up there and met him and hunted down his place. And he said, Jack, anytime you want to come back, you're more than welcome. So this is 1960.
Yeah.
And my dad did that for 22 years straight. He would drive up from Southern California to spend and he would save all his vacation time for October so that he could sleep in his camper in this guy's corral and hunt pheasant and chucker and quail and huns and all the, upland game birds. And then I had never visited Idaho until after my football career, and my dad had retired up here. He bought a little ranchette on the other side of town from where the Lazy Bear Ranch is now. Okay. And I started visiting him in like 1990.
Sure.
Got a kind of acquainted with the area out there. And about 1999, 2000, you go knock on a door and attitudes had changed. People wouldn't let you hunt anymore.
That was like my age of coming to the age of a man, getting to where you might go adventure out. And I grew up in Hagerman, that's Pheasantville.
Yep.
And they don't do that anymore.
Yeah, it just changed. So I said, I better buy some land just so if I want to go out and shoot a gun and not have to ask permission and, go hunt. And so that's how it all started. I just was looking for an escape, and I found my first 100-acre there. 5.3 miles east of Weiser, up on the Weiser River.
There, right?
Yeah, right there. And it's very interesting where my place is, the actual lodge. I tell people, if you're looking to find me, just Google map Rebecca, Idaho. Oh. And you put in Rebecca, Idaho, it takes you right to my ranch. And what Rebecca, Idaho was, from what I've researched and found out, there's a trail that goes through my property. Now it's called it was a railroad. Now it's called the Weiser River Trail. And so it's a non-motorized hiking, biking trail that goes from Weiser all the way up to, help me out.
Geez, you could probably get to
it's 87
Stanley
miles
from there.
It's 87 miles north of Tamarack, up, goes way up in that thing. The railroad was originally to bring lumber down,
Sure.
To the valley.
But it's Cambridge or
it's
something
past
like
Cambridge.
That, yeah.
It's past Tamarack. It's the next town past where you make that turn to go to
New
McCall.
Meadows.
New Meadows.
Yeah.
There you
New
go.
Meadows,
Ding,
yeah.
ding, ding, ding. New
Yeah.
Meadows. So anyway, they took the railroad out, and where my lodge is built, Rebecca, Idaho. It was what I understand is like people that were the guys that were making the railroad, the section bosses.
Yeah.
They had the ability to name wherever a railroad station was going to go. So Rebecca, I looked it up and I couldn't find it's probably somebody's wife or daughter or sister or whatever, but the name Rebecca, Idaho. It's on all the maps. It's you look at it, and so I tell people, you want to find me. It's in Rebecca, Idaho. And what happened was that 2 acres there where the lodge is, where you visited, it later became property of Amalgamated Sugar. So it went from a railroad siding, from supposed to be a railroad station to a railroad siding, and then it became a beet dump. So all the sugar beets, the farmers would dump their sugar beets there.
You can see what's going on out there in Nampa, those piles of stuff out there. I mean, it just gets tall and tall.
Yeah. So then they took the railroad out. The Weiser River Trail Conservancy took it over and maintains it. It splits my property in two. But here was this abandoned, sugar beet dump. And I contacted Amalgamated Sugar because it abutted my property.
From them.
Yeah, I bought it from them. Wow. So I said, hey, that property's not doing you any good. It's just you're having to pay taxes on it. Why don't you sell me that property? So I ended up working a deal with their attorney, and I ended up buying that 2 acres, and that's where I built my house in the lodge, and it all kind of started right there. So.
That is an adventure. So we're in Radio Land, Tim. In Radio Land, we got people maybe tuning in here. They just got up bright and early. It's 7 a.m. here, pretty close. Got coffee in hand. We're sitting with Tim Wrightman. Tim Wrightman, 1985 Super Bowl champion, tight end for the Bears, taking the Patriots down, but he found his home in Idaho thanks to what his dad had found in his discovery. And if you've been listening, apparently getting drunk in Idaho can be a great thing too, because it can just lead to a lifetime of a generational experience between your dad and Tim here. And yes, I discovered this by going to see my friend Kevin Miller and got to come to your place, Tim. And I got to tell you, just the whole thing, you were very generous to give me a tour. And I really appreciate that because, man, you've made quite a place, and it doesn't look like there's any stone unturned out there. I mean, you've done something with all 200 acres.
Oh, thank you. And, my dad used to tease me about, I told him I was going to buy 100 acres. He goes, oh, you're going to want to buy a lot more if you can, because then you'll know you can't take care of it. Oh, I have 200 acres out there right now, and it's like you almost think that with help, you can landscape the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's been the problem. But even when I was living down in California, before I moved up here full time, I would come up about every 3 or 4 weeks and I'd plant trees. And I still to this day, I plant trees, even though I know I'm not going to see the shade from them.
Sure.
I still go out and I plant trees every year. I planted every tree on that place, with the exception of the Russian olive.
You got what, like one tree, or you got a little grove of them? I can't remember.
Oh, I've got probably over 1,000 trees out there. So the big tree line. Oh, the Russian olives. I try to get rid of those. In Idaho now we consider those to be noxious weeds.
Yeah.
So, but I've planted thousands of trees out there and that sort of thing. And then I was doing that, and I had no idea I'd be doing what I do now, which. The main focus is, of course, pheasant hunting. We do pheasant hunting starting in September, and then we'll go all the way, through the end of March. That's been really a great, fun experience for me because I get to meet so many people that have grown up in Idaho.
Yeah.
And then there's no place for them to experience that anymore. So if people, as well as I do, hunting is not about killing an animal. It's about the camaraderie between the people that are going.
Right. Most of the fun in hunting is about the experience up until that point, right? It's about who you're hanging out with, the trip that you went there. Maybe there was a flat tire and you had to fix it. And then maybe there was just the luckiest thing that ever happened.
It's the journey.
It is a journey. Yeah. And we'll get into this a little bit in these next few segments because, again, we're talking to Tim Wrightman. He is the principal, the owner of the Lazy Bear Ranch out in what you newcomers might think is Weiser, Idaho, but it's Weiser. It's okay. We'll get there. It's a great event location, and it's not just events. What Tim is talking about is hunting. Pheasant hunting in Idaho is a pastime. It's something that just doesn't exist as much out there other than the WMAs, and you got a great place to go hang out with a great person to do that at the Lazy Bear Ranch. This is Dylan Stalker, The Great Idaho Show. thegreatidahoshow.com, where every week we talk about something that's great about Idaho. And right now we got Tim Wrightman with the Lazy Bear Ranch. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, KBOI listeners. This is Dylan Stalker, The Great Idaho Show, sponsored by Old Arms of Idaho, oldarmsofidaho.com. If it is a significant firearm, Western or military apiece, Old Arms of Idaho, they are the best. You should give them a call. Think of them like the Antique Roadshow of all that is great about America. What else is great about America? We got Tim Wrightman here. We've got what is great about Idaho. We've got Tim Wrightman here. And the Lazy Bear Ranch, the history of it is important. Going back to our last segment, Tim, an NFL Super Bowl champion with one of the greatest Super Bowl experiences ever, the 1985 Chicago Bears, who finds a home in Idaho thanks to his father's love and passion for traveling around, hunting, and finding places to hunt chucker in Idaho, and ended up just discovering Weiser.
Exactly. So before we left and went to break, you talked about Weiser.
Sure.
So actually, the correct pronunciation is Weiser. It's German.
Thank you. My
Weiser.
Goodness.
So I tell all my gullible California friends.
Are they all gullible?
A lot of them are.
Okay,
well,
anyways.
when you get them out of the city and you get them out onto the ranch and they don't see houses and they don't see things, they kind of lose their minds a little bit, right? And
how could you not?
Yeah. So I tell them the story of Weiser, and it was a guy, John Weiser. He was a sergeant in the Corps of Discovery, which was.
Oh, you got me. Don't do that
Come
to
on,
me.
who was that? Lewis and Clark. Lewis and Clark, the Corps of Discovery.
The greatest adventure team of all time.
Okay, so as they would cross, they would name things after people in their party, And so they came upon the river, north of here, and they named that the Weiser River. Okay?
That's awesome.
Yeah, so as Idaho grew and they started the town of Weiser, on the at the mouth of where the Weiser River and the Snake River come together, it became Americanized because in the early days of the late 1800s, the people of Weiser, they had really bad dental hygiene and they lost their teeth at a very early age. So it's very difficult to make a V sound. So they Americanized it to Weiser. Right. So every bit of that story is true up until the end, which I sucked you in like a Californian.
You got me, dude. I might as well just leave the state right now. Thanks, Tim. I'm out. I'm signing off. This is Dylan Stalker, The Great Idaho Show. I'm leaving it with Tim Wrightman here. He is the champ of the radio. I'm out of here. Anyways, I love it.
So the story of John Weiser and how the river got named is true, but the dental hygiene thing, I have no idea, but I made it up.
You sucked me right in.
That's where the acting comes in,
Ladies and gentlemen, you will always hear me talk about this. I 100% believe in professionalism, and that's across all sources of the type of being a professional. Tim Wrightman is a professional. He was a professional in football, and he's a professional in entertainment. And what you just experienced was him entertaining himself with me as a professional. And you're going to get the essence of why the Lazy Bear Ranch is a great place for your event, but not just your event, weddings and things that you've recently developed, Tim, right? Those are some newly things that have happened for you.
Yeah. I mean, we're always, my friends kid me all the time because of the fact that every time I build something, I said, that's the last thing I'm building. That's it. I'm done. I'm not building anything else. And then they check in with me about 6 months later, and I say, they ask, what are you doing? I say, well, I'm building this. I'm building that. And there's a great saying, Japanese saying that is, house done, man dead. And that's
my gosh, I just got cold and shivery there. I just saw my life flash before my eyes.
I mean, I'm sure you're the same way too. Yeah. You always have to have your hands going in different projects. And last year we created what I call a pavilion, which is a big overhanging patio, which you saw with
that was
the
amazing.
Chandeliers right off the waterfall there and that sort of thing. And it seems like every year it's just like, oh, I need this, I need that. Have you ever seen the movie The Jerk with?
I have. It's Steve Martin.
Right?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, but if you remember one of the best scenes, he was in a robe and he was leaving. He was upset, and he goes, "All I need in the whole world is this tennis racket. That's all I need in the whole world is this tennis racket and I need this lamp. That's all I need in the whole world."
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the way I feel
out there. By the time it's over, it keeps coming in, right?
Just you need everything.
You know what I love about that? Because my wife and I, yes, we work on some projects. There's two kinds of people in the world, the ones that do and the ones that don't, and the ones that do just did. And you're doing it. You were lamenting when I was visiting with you. You were like, man, I wish I would have saved a whole lot more money if I would have just had some sort of plan. But you know what? The problem with that is, to me, is when it's all planned out, it's like sterile. When something comes together of just like, I don't know where I'm going to get the material or how I'm going to put this together. And if you want to hire good professionals and build good stuff. And man, that is quite the facility.
Oh, thank you.
Saving money might have not been as special.
You're right. I talked to you about if I would have had a master plan.
Yeah.
A master plan. And that's a great analogy that it is sterile because you can't create a feel. You know what I mean? You can't take a master plan. It either happens or happens. It happens to venues. It happens to bars. It happens to restaurants. Like some places you go and that energy is just there, right?
Yeah.
And it can't be manufactured. Somehow that place, either the people there or the way it's designed, it makes people feel comfortable. It energizes people. And you're right. If I would have had a master plan, I would have lost that feel. Because I think people come out there and for whatever, it's a special feel because it was built organically. Like, okay, this is how people flow. This is what they need. This is how, and then I built it around their needs and what every time that I saw a need, I try to fill that to make it easier and more fun and a greater experience. But I think you're absolutely right and I never thought about it. If I did have a master plan, the right word you used was sterile. It would have been just a sterile thing because
like Scottsdale,
we talked about little venues popping up in the valley that are a 1 acre thing, and they make it very pretty, and then you take a picture here and you go, whoa, you can't go to that angle because that's where the apartment building is, or you can't go to that angle because. So my place is not just a veneer, a one deep tree line. A movie studio where you can take pictures. This is the real deal.
200 acres, Tim. That's quite a bit of space to go.
200 problems.
200. You know what I love about it, though? I guarantee you go out there and there is not an inch. I know this because I experienced the same thing myself, and why it is so much more meaningful when you did plant every one of those trees and you remembered when you had to convert that field into something entirely different, or you had to bulldoze you have a reservoir out there.
Yeah. So I helped design it, but I didn't build it. But yeah, we built a lake out there. It's about 7 acres, of surface water and that sort of thing. But you're right. I mean, like you and what you're doing, I have sweat equity involved.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really fortunate people that have a lot of money and they can pay for that stuff, but it's not the same as we were talking about, the same journey.
Yeah,
it's not the same journey at all. And the journey, I think back I've been out there. I've owned the property now since 2000, lived out there since 2003 full time. And I look at the pictures of where it's come and where it's going.
Goodness, and memories flashing by your face every time.
I can't believe I did all that stuff. It's hard to believe that all that thinking, I'm the kind of person that I'll wake up at 3:00 in the morning and I get my ideas, and I think over stuff and make a game plan and that sort of thing. And I go, wow, I've had a lot of sleepless nights. You know what I mean? Just thinking about
for
stuff.
The whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And it never comes out perfect the way that you did when you imagined it. And it's like a great carpenter told me one time, he's like, all carpenters make mistakes. It's the good ones that know how to cover up that mistake and make it look like it was. And I got to tell you, man, it's a top level experience.
Thank you.
Throughout.
And a saying that my dad had has really helped through the years when you do make those mistakes. And he always used to say, "Good enough for the girls we date."
Yes, we're doing just fine. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, KBOI listeners, the greatest radio station in all of Idaho, been here forever. We are visiting with Tim Wrightman of the Lazy Bear Ranch. This isn't just a hunting ranch. It is an event location. You could hunt and have an event. You could do the whole thing. I got to tell you, when I first got there, having events also has great food, and you had breakfast for us all. Again, very generous. And I was just like, one of the greatest judges of food for me is if you can cook an egg. And I think people have put that all over television.
Yeah.
That was just
thank
an
you.
amazing
I have a great chef that's been with me for many years now. We're friends. When I built my motel, I have a 15-room motel across the street. And we built a big commissary commercial kitchen over there too, so that we can cater. We've done catering up to 400 people. So, and then he'll come in, and like when I have hunters, he'll cook then. And like when we had the breakfast there, he cooked that. He was a part owner in Weiser Classic Candy many years ago.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And so he was the candy man, and then he decided to go a different direction. And it's, been a pleasure to have him out there cooking for us and, our events. And we let other people bring outside catering, but I let Keith, I tell the brides and whoever's putting on an event, I say, I'm not telling you have to bring your own caterer, just let us compete for your business. And then all
you ask for is a chance, right?
Just a chance.
Just give me an opportunity.
Yeah.
So we're coming up towards the end of a segment here. This is Dylan Stalker. This is the Great Idaho Show. What's great about Idaho? Tim Wrightman, Lazy Bear Ranch, 200-acre experience, a hunting experience. If you love pheasant, Idaho had so much pheasant hunting back in the day. It's just about gone now, unless you go to Lazy Bear Ranch. We'll come into this next segment, talk a bit more about it. The Great Idaho Show, thegreatidahoshow.com. Welcome back, KBOI. Welcome back, the listeners of the Great Idaho Show. This is Dylan Stalker, multi-generational Idahoan, just simply trying to highlight what is great about Idaho, whether it is a business, an initiative, or a situation or a place. thegreatidahoshow.com. We're talking to Tim Wrightman. I do put this label out there because it's important to me, Tim. As a 10-year-old kid, Tim Wrightman is not here to cause no trouble, right?
That's right. I'm just here to do the Super Bowl shuffle.
Thank you, Tim, for picking up on that.
That's all right.
All right.
Hey, I got to tell you a quick story about that, though, because I refused to be in the Super Bowl shuffle.
I watched the whole video looking for number 80.
No, I refused. There was a couple reasons why. One is that the year that we won the Super Bowl in 1985, the only game we lost that year was against the Miami Dolphins on a Monday night. Dan Marino picked us apart.
Oh my gosh, Dan Marino!
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to lose to somebody, but the next day, that Tuesday, was when they filmed the Super Bowl Shuffle, and after your first loss, we were 13-0, and then we lost, and after our perfect season was over, I think everybody kind of reined everything in and became very serious. And, and it was like, after that loss, everybody, like Mike Singletary, who was one of, the great team leaders, we reined everything in, even though he did the Super Bowl shuffle. It was kind of like, okay, let's go ahead and win the rest of our games and get our Super Bowl ring. That was
what are we here for?
Yeah,
are we here for a media show?
We were a team of destiny, though. Yeah. I mean, that season, that year, not my words, but but NFL Films, they had a film out, 85, the greatest team in football history. I have to agree with them, even though the 72 Dolphins were undefeated.
Sure.
They only played a 14-game schedule. We played a 16-game schedule. But that team, I think, with all of the people that are in the Hall of Fame off that team and that sort of thing, I don't think there'll be another team that was as dominant. And not only did we beat people, but we beat them up along the way. And we did it with some flair. And we did it with class. And it was a team that brought people that even weren't football fans into it because we were having fun.
Yeah.
And we had fun guys on our team. You have guys, like the Fridge and McMahon. And, when people find out that I played for the 85 Bears, the first person they always ask about is who? Who do you think that is?
If it were me, it would be the Fridge. But otherwise, it'd be Jim McMahon.
Yeah,
right?
So the Fridge is the first guy they always want to know about. What was the Fridge like? What was the Fridge like? Then the second guy is Jim McMahon.
Right.
And then they'll say, gosh, I can't remember. There was another guy on that team that was really good. What was his name? Oh, Walter Payton.
Oh
yeah, Walter Payton. And it's funny. Like
you say
the first two guys aren't even in the Hall of Fame, nor do they have the numbers to be in the Hall of Fame. It was
the
Fridge is not in the Hall of Fame.
What is his name? My goodness, it's
William Perry.
William Perry. Yes, thank you.
Not in the Hall of Fame. Jim McMahon not in the Hall of Fame. So the third guy they go to is Walter Payton. And then they go, God, yeah, Walter Payton. And there was another guy that was really good. Oh, you mean Mike Singletary?
Yeah, Mike Singletary.
Oh, yeah. And what was he? Oh, Richard Dent? Oh, yeah, Hall of Fame. Dan Hampton? Oh, yeah, Hall of Fame. Steve McMichael? Oh, yeah, Hall of Fame. Jimbo Covert, who's an offensive tackle, Hall of Fame. And so Dicka said it right about that team. He said, we were characters with character. And there was enough fun and enough stuff to go around that I even had my own radio show. I mean, even guys, secondary guys, they had their own, shoe line. They had their own stuff.
That is America, right?
There was enough.
That is why we're here.
Yeah. And all those guys, you look at how people look at the NFL now and the players and, how much money they're making and, good for them. God bless them that they're making that kind of money.
But they're not about. I don't believe that there is a possibility for the team to be the team anymore because it is all just about your contract, singular self. It's really tough.
53 individual corporations.
Yes,
working now.
Yeah.
To see who can get the most clicks and likes and and most TikTok videos.
Just a funnel of whatever.
Yeah, I think. But the one thing about our team is that nobody got in trouble. Nobody. Are you saying you guys didn't do anything? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we never got caught.
I don't believe you.
I'm just saying we never got caught. But the only guy that got caught and got in trouble was Ditka. So Ditka, we go the year before the Bears lost to the 49ers in the championship game 23-0. It was a big deal. The 49ers players, I wasn't on the team at that time, but the 49er players were, saying, "Hey, next year you come bring an offense." That kind of thing. Yeah. So we go out to play them the 5th game of the year in San Francisco, and we beat them pretty good, 24-10 in San Francisco. And on the way back, Dicka's lighting them up on the airplane, having a cocktail.
Yeah.
And he drove home, and he got pulled over by the Illinois State Police.
Yeah.
And he got pulled over for a DUI. He was the only guy that got in trouble that whole year. And so,
that's not true. I have to, there's a lot of people that got in trouble. If you were in the Super Bowl Shuffle video, you're in trouble because you made a good choice
not to be in it.
Just to prep, talking to you, I watched that.
Yeah.
Because as a kid, dude, that was revolutionary for me. 10-year-old
They sold 1 million copies of that.
That blew my mind, right? Yeah. But I just watched it again today.
Doesn't hold up, does it?
I mean, can you dance? Because most of those boys can't dance.
I've done worse things for less money. So after football, I was an actor, and I can remember the first job I got. I was so excited. I had done stand up as well, so I was doing stand up in Chicago, and I was hosting open mic night at the Improv and another place called the Funny Firm. And then when I left football, I had the relationship with the guy who owned the Improv, a guy named Bud Friedman, who owned the Improv in North Hollywood, moved back to LA from Chicago.
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, can I continue hosting open mic stuff?" He goes, "Well, we don't have open mic, but you're more than welcome to host. So I started hosting. I never wanted to be a stand-up, but I always thought if I could take a story and tell it in the hardest thing to do in entertainment is stand-up. It's the hardest thing because you're in a club and you're there and people are saying, okay, we're in a comedy club. Go ahead. I dare you. Make me laugh. They've
reserved back. They're like, this better be good or I'm not laughing
exactly.
at all.
So I figured if I could get a chuckle then, when I went out and I did motivational talks and spoke, if I got a chuckle in the club, it would kill in a normal setting because people wouldn't expect it from a big, dumb football player. They wouldn't expect him to be funny. So anyway, I did that and I got my first commercial audition. There was an agent, casting director in the audience one night. They saw me and they came up and said, "Hey, Tim, we're going to film a commercial for United Airlines. It's a football player. Do you want to audition for it?" I go, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that.
It's a football. You got to listen to the voice. It's a football player.
Yeah, right.
It's a football player.
Yeah, right. So I go, I get I actually get the job. I'm going, what's this acting thing about? It's not that tough. One audition, one commercial. Let's go.
Yeah.
So then, but I did a couple other national commercials that I went and auditioned for. But then I got my first acting job, and with lines on a show and all this stuff. It was called Rachel Gunn RN, and it only had 13 episodes, and I was just a guest star on one of the episodes. But it was from the producers of Married with Children.
Okay,
so it was that kind of comedy.
Yeah, I mean,
it was that kind of comedy that it was going to be not a spin-off, but it was the producers from there and that sort of thing. And I got the job. They had originally hired the famous Italian model Fabio for the part.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so Fabio. So they hire Fabio, and then they realize Fabio has a very thick Italian accent, and you can't understand
lines,
it. You can't understand it. So when at the time when I was acting, they would send you sides, which is just part of the script, not the whole script, but just part, one scene. So you get that, you go to the casting director, you audition,
do the readout,
read, and then what'll happen is they'll call your agent or not call your agent. Hey, don't call us, we'll call you, kind of thing. Yeah. And I get a call that I got this part. And I go, oh, cool, my first part. I get to do, this thing. I'm this guy that is the next door neighbor. And so I get the whole script, and the character's name is Thor. So, and Thor is trying to create a professional male dancer. He's trying to become a male dancer.
Oh, yeah. Well, gee whiz.
So go figure. Married with Children.
Got many options in life, right?
So I look at the script and I go through and it goes, Thor walks into the room and starts doing his striptease. I'm like, oh my God. I had no idea. I had no idea. And I'm going, oh my God. Okay. So then I go to, you do rehearsal for a week, Monday through Thursday. Then they film that a sitcom on Friday.
Live, right?
Yeah,
with
live.
The audience, the whole thing. Yeah.
So we're in the studio. Now the director comes up to me and goes, Tim, I know you don't have long hair, but we've envisioned this guy to have long hair. So can we put a wig on you? I go, yeah, okay, it's acting, but
yes, of course.
I can do it. I'm an actor. I can do it. So then, if you've never been in a studio that they film these things in, the ceilings are really tall. Yeah. They're like 40 feet in the air. And that's so they can have the lights and blah, 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 and the sound and all that stuff. Now, the scene, you want to wrap this up? I can get to the punchline in a minute?
Well,
okay, we'll come back to it.
We got 1 minute. This is Dylan. You tell me this is your show, my friend. How would you wrap this up?
Let's finish it on the break. On the backside. Okay. Fourth quarter, finish strong.
Fourth quarter, finish strong. We're going to start
It's a teaser.
Here.
Wait for the strip
teaser. It's coming. You're listening to Tim Wrightman in his experience coming out of the 1985 Bears' greatest Super Bowl experience to have ever happened. A real team to Tim talking about his experience and getting into acting and media and comedy and all that stuff. And it all finishes up here on the Great Idaho Show, where we're also talking to Tim about the Lazy Bear Ranch. Don't forget, that is also why we're here, the Great Idaho Show, the Lazy Bear Ranch. It is just a great time for pheasant hunting or for events. If you want to check out more of this, you're obviously listening to it here, or it's thegreatidahoshow.com. As we are told this morning, welcome back. We are rolling with Tim Wrightman here on The Great Idaho Show, sponsored by Old Arms of Idaho. You know where to take that collectible firearm, piece of Western history or military history. They will help you out. Tim, you had me on the edge. What is going on?
Okay.
Take us to the fourth quarter, my friend.
All right, so I get the full script. I see that I have to do a strip tease. I go to rehearsal that week. They say, we've envisioned this guy like Fabio to have long hair. Can we put you in a wig? Absolutely, because I'm an actor. I'm a professional. So then we're in the studio, and the scene is I come into a living room, and I bring my boombox with me, and I walk in, and there's I have my boombox with me, and there's 5 or 6 women sitting on a couch. I come into Rachel Gunn, who's the lead character in the show, her house, and I asked them. I said, "Hey, do you guys want to see my?" And they all go, "Yes." So that's when I start my strip tease. Now we're going through rehearsal. Like I said, we're in the studio with the ceilings are really high.
Yeah.
So the director comes up to me the night before we're going to film this thing in front of a live studio audience, and he says, "Tim, when you walk through the door with your boombox and you set it on the table, and you push down the button to play the music you're going to dance to, there's not going to be any music. We're going to dub that in because if we play the music, it's going to echo like a 40-foot building, not like a living room. So it wouldn't match. The sound wouldn't match.
Yeah, you get the reverb.
So here I come in a wig, doing a strip tease to no music in front of a live studio audience. And I'm saying to myself, I'll do anything for a laugh. If I can get through this, I can do anything.
You're not supposed to be getting laughs out of this one.
No, it's a comedy.
I know.
So anyway, it goes back to me making a good thing, Tim, that you didn't do the Super Bowl shuffle because can you dance? Well, I did worse.
Oh my goodness!
Right?
Yes.
So yeah, if you want to look at it, it's online. It's on my. I put it on my what they call at the time when I was acting your sizzle reel. Which was little parts and of what you can do, and I put that on there and I kept it on there. It's my first thing, but it let people know, hey, this guy will do anything for a laugh and. That kind of thing, and just being good-natured and being a good sport about it, and that kind of thing, right?
Just having fun.
So, and I had a great time acting. I unfortunately got tired of Los Angeles. I was living in Santa Monica, the traffic and the people, and I'm so glad that I made the choice to move to Idaho and that sort of thing. And I had no idea when I moved here that no master plan. Didn't think I'd be doing the pheasant hunting. Thing and we have over 300 people a year come out there and pheasant hunt. We went through
you are busy.
We went through 4,000 birds last year.
Oh my goodness!
If people want to lazybearranch.com, we still have I still accept new people. It's getting to the point that I just want to really service the people that have been there. They keep coming back. Like most of my guys will say, "Oh yeah, we want this Thursday next year," and they book it right then. And so I've been very fortunate. On the show here maybe, but out there the dogs are the show. And we talked about hunting that I have more people that come out and say, I don't even care if I shoot a pheasant. I just love being out here watching dogs that have been trained to do what they were bred to do, and just the atmosphere and the habitat and the food. It's all, it's one of those things. It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's not about how many birds you kill. And I'll get calls from people that say, they'll ask 2 or 3 times, how many birds do we get to shoot? How many birds do we get to shoot? And I say, this probably isn't the right place for you.
Right. It's about the whole experience, right?
Yeah. It's the journey and it's the experience. And I've been very fortunate. I've had some great guys that I've met from Boise that have, we were there from the start, and companies that have supported my effort and that sort of thing. And then the wedding stuff just kind of happened organically too. I had some brides from Weiser come out. This is like 9 years ago, and say, "Hey, you have a beautiful place. We'd love to get married here." And I said, "Okay, yeah, absolutely not. No way do I ever want to have a wedding here." And so,
perfect.
Yeah, no. And then I kind of fought it, and then I said, "Wow, this is kind of a nice combination of doing fall." Winter hunts and now doing weddings in spring and summer, and that now the weddings have kind of bled over into the fall.
And you can transition through those businesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And I think I've booked a lot of weddings because I have pheasant hunts. Like, I think that the brides know that they can come out there, get a beautiful place, that fits their needs. And then they say to their hunter future husbands, if we get married out there, you can do a pheasant hunt before the ceremony. That kind of locks it in.
Right.
It kind of locks it in. There's no place else. I don't think there's any place else in the world you can go do a pheasant hunt and get married in the same day.
What you were talking about, what you're describing, this is what comes to me. When you think of the picture of Idaho and southern Idaho and where you're talking about, Weiser, right by the mountains, Rebecca, we got to get right where we're at. This is in Rebecca, Idaho, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
The view that you get is, I don't think you can find it really anywhere else. It is Idaho.
Thank you.
Then you talk about the experience of pheasant hunting. That is a pastime. Idaho is a hunting state. That is people change their whole lives over it. It sounds like you did. Mm-hmm. And then you get to tie one of the most important moments of many people's lives all in one shot, all in a geographical location that the Lazy Bear Ranch is where it's at, Tim.
Could we call it a shotgun wedding?
It's let's do it. Let's double bear. Yes. Many of them. Yeah, shotgun wedding. Yeah. If I was going to have a shotgun wedding, it'd be at the Lazy Bear Ranch. I love that.
Yeah. So and it's neat because the hunting started first, and it's still really popular. And then the weddings and different events, corporate events. I'm drawing more because of the motel and that sort of thing, and being able to draw more people to do corporate events and that sort of thing. But it's nice because, in fact, like this happened last week, a potential bride came out to view the ranch, and they had a daughter with them, and the mom was looking at everything, our enchanted chapel, which is in the trees, and the bridal dressing room and the waterfalls and all that stuff. And the mom said to the daughter, which was really made me feel good, see, don't judge a book by its cover, that just because you thought it was a hunting place. Yeah. This is beautiful.
And it's what you just described. I lead this too, because we talk about this all the time. My wife and I are cleaning up barbed wire and rusty nail piles, and just, we manage a little bit. I'm not going to say what it really is, but there's stuff out there. Every inch of that 200 acres is just really wisely put together. And if, one of the 10-year-old boys went walking off, they're going to be safe. There's not really much, hopefully they know how to swim and stuff like that. Keep an eye on your kid, but it's just really well put together.
Thank you.
It's really cool. I'm going to try to tie this all back together. We're in the fourth quarter. We got 3 minutes left. Tim Wrightman, myself, Dylan Stalker, The Great Idaho Show, the Lazy Bear Ranch. What I get out of this is, if you really listen to what Tim has said today and you listen to Tim's experience, you can't have a great event or a great hunting experience in this way without some sort of great experience of somebody that cares. I mean, it's one thing to just make the land available, go ahead and go hunting, right? And you can have fun, but you've got it all, and you have a professional aspect, and you are there with your experience in life, just trying to make sure that everybody has a laugh, has potentially a great meal. We're talking a top level, brand new place to stay. There isn't any old crusty spider webs underneath that bed. And an Idaho picturesque location that's wrought with history. There's history all over the place.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. So we're in the 3-minute drill.
We're in the 3-minute drill. We got about 2 minutes left. What else would you love to share, Tim?
I'd like to share, how thankful I am for Idaho. I really am. I mean, and the people that came before it, your history and all of those things. And, I've met some really terrific people in Idaho, and I think that's what's motivated me a lot to, create what I have. And for me, it's about sharing. I mean, I hope that you got out of anything when you came out there that I have the enthusiasm to share that with people. You know what I mean? I hope that, and it comes off as being,
but it's fun to
genuine,
see people having fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the whole thing. It's about having fun. And I feel so fortunate that my whole life I've been able to play, Dylan.
Oh my goodness.
You think about it. I've been able to play my whole life.
You went right into college UCLA playing football, playing NFL football,
playing different people on TV.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to do love scenes with some beautiful women.
You are like the greatest man-child I've ever met in my whole life.
I get to play now.
Yeah.
So people go, what are you going to do when you retire? I go, oh, what am I going to do? Like go hunting and have parties? That's what I do for a living. It's great.
It really is. It really is. I'm so thankful that you took the time today. Tim Wrightman, you are what's great about Idaho. You are providing an opportunity for people to experience one of Idaho's greatest pastimes, which is pheasant hunting, but not only that, one of the most important moments of our lives, which could be getting married or an event. And if it's an event, it's because it was important. And you just have I don't think there is another place like it in the country you can do that with.
I think it's unique as well. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that.
This is Dylan Stalker, The Great Idaho Show, thegreatidahoshow.com. If you missed any portion of this, go to thegreatidahoshow.com and you can pick it up. Don't forget our sponsors, Old Arms of Idaho, the Western Militaria and Firearms Specialists.